Hey guys, welcome in to the Sportscast. Your hosts Brian and Craig. Craig, my man, how you doing, bud?
Howdy, sir.
Doing better than some head coaches that hit the chopping block this week. I hope so. We're going to talk about that, the head coaching vacancies, the coaches that lost their job here, and what do they call it? Black Monday, the Monday after the season ends. And we got quite a few here. We're going to talk about those. Did they deserve it? Did they not? Um, and then some honorable mentions, and then we'll get into some college football. Guys, we're saving their playoffs for the Friday night episode. Um, I don't know about you, Craig. I'm excited about the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of good football. There's a lot of good matches, and I'm excited to dig into it. But we're going to have to wait until Friday. So join us definitely Friday. Come in the comments section, get on the show. We'll pitch your chats into the on the show and go from there. But I'm excited to talk some playoffs with you, Craig. Friday. Head coaching vacancies. You know, the first one to lose his job, I believe, was, if I'm not mistaken, Titans Brian Callahan in the season. Um, and then Brian Dayball, the Giants, was kind of the next one. And then I think the most shocking, obviously, is Baltimore, but we'll get to that in just a minute. The Giants was an interesting one. Brian Dayball, I mean, the writing was on the wall, I think, for him. He had some decent years. He had one year where they overachieved big time there with New York. And I thought that this guy was maybe had something and just couldn't get it figured out there. But the Giants are one of the worst teams in football. They couldn't figure out their quarterback. Danny Dimes was not it, and he goes over somewhere else and looks to be very good. I'm interested to see what Dart and Scattaboo do when they get back next season. Who's going to be their head coach? I think they might have a pretty bright future with those two. What are your thoughts on the Giants and the head coaching
I mean,
vacancy
I
as
think
as
it's
we go
a,
forward?
I think it's an interesting job. I think Dayball kind of lost the fan base when he runs your franchise two Super Bowl quarterback out of town, very unceremoniously in like a mid-season move, and he had a couple good years, but it just was never a good fit. Um, I think they have a really good core with Scattaboo, Dart, Neighbors. Again, now they have another high draft pick. If they can get Abdul Carter on the same page and get him to be what he was at Penn State, there's another core piece. But they've had some troubles with him. He got benched at the end of the season. Teammates were saying that he wasn't all in. Um, so that's a name to watch. Do they move on from Carter? Do they keep him and make him a part of this core that's going to be good? But I think that's a very popular job, and one of the names that I heard was the guy from Cleveland. Um,
Stefanski.
Stefanski taking either the Titans or the um, Giants job. They think Stefanski will be one of the first ones that are snatched up off this list of carousel. That he'll be back in the league very quickly. I'm not sure, but it's an interesting job. I think it's one of the more interesting jobs because it's not a rebuild. I think you have a pretty good nucleus. You have a pretty good deal, and then you have a high draft pick. So it's like seven. So you have a top 10 pick. I think you can really make some headway and have a good starting core nucleus in New York. So I don't think I think it's one of the more popular jobs.
Yeah, and when you start talking about all the players they got and everything, it sounds a lot better than when you think of just the New York Giants or whatever. They got kind of the direction that you can go, where a lot of these other teams don't. And I think a big question mark about direction we're going lies with a couple of these teams, especially the Raiders. You know, they hire Pete Carroll, they give him a 3-year deal, and then they fire him after year one. They were the worst football team in football, so I don't blame him. But they go out and they get the quarterback, what's his face, from Seattle,
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. He is terrible. He's flipping off his own fans. Like this thing is kind of unraveling.
Yeah, I mean, so
Max
basically,
Crosby trades rumors throughout the season.
yeah.
What is Tom Brady's influence going to be? Just a lot of question marks here, and what direction they're going to actually going to go.
I mean, basically, they swung for the fences here. They go get Pete Carroll. Carroll goes and immediately gets Geno Smith, who he had in Seattle and had success at the end of his. He moves on from Russell Wilson and takes Geno, and and you think it's a rebuild year, and they win a bunch of games and make the playoffs, and um, and so he tries to rekindle that in Vegas. Well, it didn't work. And then as it starts to come off the rails, well, then they want the draft pick. So they're trying to tell guys, hey, we're not going to play. Crosby doesn't want any part of that. He wants to play. They tell him you're not playing. So if you just don't want to willingly do it, we'll say you're hurt. We don't know if the Max Crosby injury that put him on IR is real. I don't expect Max Crosby to be there. I don't expect Geno Smith to be there. I think this thing is just going to be a complete blow up, start from the ground up, rebuild, and you're still looking at several years before the Las Vegas Raiders become relevant
Oh,
in
you think they're
especially.
drafting the quarterback out of Iowa or what? Not Iowa, Indiana.
I mean, that would be. I have to start looking at tape. I wasn't see with Mendoza. I didn't really think that he played a very tough schedule this year, and the Alabama game was eye opening because that's a pretty good team in the SEC, and he looked really good. So,
Yeah.
but I will have to look at. I'll have to go back and look at some of his tape to see. But I think that's kind of I don't see anybody else that jumps off the page. I think that's where you start since you already have the top tier running back. You might want to get some offensive line help to help your running
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
Um,
Ginty, 1,000 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns with the worst offensive line in football. So I mean,
right,
that shows
right,
some promise.
right.
So
So you have your core running back, you get a quarterback, you have a couple okay wide receivers over there in Beck and we'll see. But it's really going to be a full blown GM coach start over from the ground up and go from there.
yeah, and I think we've heard rumors of Max Crosby trade, and the Raiders are we're not trading him, and there was
I
some beef
don't.
between the
I think
two
I think
because
he's
of
played his
the
last game
yeah.
in L.A.
Well, there was a beef between the two because he thought he could play, and they said they said you're not playing, your injury, and he didn't like that. There's some beef between now Raiders. I've heard rumors Raiders are open to trade, so he will be gone. And if you're smart, if the Raiders are smart, they move him. You're not. He's a win now player. You're not a win now team. You move him. You get a couple. You get a first round draft pick at least, maybe a third, first and a third, something like that. Then you piece a package together and trade him somewhere. He's a damn good pass rusher, and there's a lot of teams going to be calling for Max Crosby in this offseason, I believe. Um, the Raiders, I think another team that really has no direction is the Arizona Cardinals. They signed Kyle Murray, which we were not a big fan of, and we talked about it when it happened. They even talked crap about the quarterback, and then they go out and they sign him to the deal. And even when he was healthy, they chose Jacoby Brissett over him. Jacoby Brissett looked better, more consistent play. Do they sign him long term? I'm not sure. They get rid of Jonathan Gannon. The main thing I take away from Arizona is Jonathan Gannon. The team never looked good, and they never looked like they were getting any better. They never showed that there was any improvement. Kyle Murray's injured most of the time that Jonathan Gannon is there. They just defensively didn't look good. Like, there's not a good football team, and I don't think Jonathan Gannon did anything to improve this football team at any point. So the Raiders, they're kind of on the same scale with me as the Cardinals have got to figure out. First of all, they're going to give Jacoby Brissett that contract. Is that their guy? They're going to move on from him. I don't think Kyle Murray is there next year. So they got a big thing to shake up in Arizona. I don't even know where Jonathan Gannon came from, Craig, but
he's a defensive coordinator,
yeah, he's
he's a defensive minded guy. I don't know how much he had input defensively on Arizona, but he's a defensive coordinator.
The Browns are getting rid of Kevin Stefanski, and I liked him a lot. I thought their quarterback situation was always the issue. They signed Deshaun Watson. He's a total bust. They're paying him all this money, and I mean, he's coached the best Browns football we've seen in a long while. I like Stefanski. I think what really got him this season was he refused to play Sanders, and he refused to play him, and then they play him, and he looks better than Gabriel, which Gabriel didn't look very good, and neither did Sanders. And I just think it's time to move on, and I think he gets a job next year. I like him. I like him, but I just, it has ran his course, and his stubbornness not to play Sanders, and then he put Sanders in, and they win a couple games because of defense, and Sanders makes a couple throws here or there, and it made him look really bad, and it's just a flip-flopping on quarterbacks, and they still paying Deshaun Watson all his money not to play football, so I don't know if he's their quarterback next year or not, but they've got to get it figured out. They got a good defense, but I think Stefanski goes somewhere next year. I'm not sure where, but I like Stefanski. I can't say his last name. Stefanski.
I hope this is not what I think it is.
I hope not. I read your mind.
I
hope not.
This is not what I think it is. I hope we are not bringing the circus to town.
God, I hope not.
And if they do anything else, then fine. But if they do what I think they're going to do,
that would be a Cleveland Brown thing to do.
1,000,000%.
And it's not to win football; it's to it's to get money. That's all that would be.
Yes,
that would make me sick.
Sideshow would be coming to town.
Oh man,
we're gonna bring Primetime in to coach the team and give Shedeur the reins, and it will be Colorado 2.0.
That would be terrible.
An absolute media sideshow. And I hope that is not their plan.
I hope not. But then I kind of hope so, because we'd have a lot to talk about. We would have so much to talk about. But I hope for the Cleveland Brown fans that is not the case. Oh, man. I didn't even think of that. And then when you said that, when you just said, I hope they don't do what I'm thinking, I read it, and I was like, oh, God, no. We shall see.
The second they fired Stefanski, I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, please no. Well, I think
Um,
the most shocking one of all is the Baltimore Ravens firing John Harbaugh, and this is one of those things to me that the team's had a lot of success. He's a great head coach. He's won a lot of games, but he's never he hasn't got over the hump in a long time. Is he gonna win with Lamar? Is he a lot of questions there? I don't think me
and
and you both know Lamar is
there
not
may
that
be
great,
a
but
disagreement between him and management on
Lamar.
wanting to wanting
Mhm.
to stay with Lamar, wanting to. He may say, "Hey, I can't win with this guy. We've got to move on from him," and that may be an unpopular opinion. And I think I
It's
think
time.
he is a very popular name and will be rehired if he wants to be. If he doesn't want to take a year off or take a couple years off, he could very easily go get one of these pregame, postgame
Oh yeah.
deals um
They
so
said
but if he wants to continue to coach, I mean, if he really wants to, I'm sure there's a spot on the Chargers staff and he could go over there and team up with his brother
his brother.
um I don't know.
He'll have a job
But
in a couple weeks.
if he
I
wants
mean,
one. If he wants one.
his agent said 45 minutes after he got fired, 7 teams called him wanting to talk to him. So he'll have a job. And
Jason Garrett has an interview with the Titans on Tuesday.
yeah, what are we doing? They must like mediocrity. So that's terrible. We got the Falcons. Raheem Morris is out, which is interesting with this one. I didn't see this one coming. If they won one more game this year, if they beat the Jets, the 3-13 Jets that they lost to, they would have won their division and be in the playoffs, and he still has his job. I don't think this one's a fair firing, and I think it's more on the quarterback. You go out, you get good old what's his face? Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Michael Penix.
No, I'm talking about the old white guy.
Oh, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you go out and get Cousins. Penix takes over his job. Penix gets injured. You pick Kirk Cousins back in. He's not very good anymore. Time to retire. I think they should have gave him a more opportunity here in Atlanta. He was tied with the division. I mean, I know the division wasn't very good, but he was right there with it. So it's just weird to me. I don't think they gave him enough time. I think this is what his second season.
I mean, they fired him 7 minutes after the game was over.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't waste any time.
Nope.
I think he catches on at least somewhere as a coordinator or something like that real quickly.
He's a good
Um,
defensive coordinator.
yeah, he is. I wouldn't mind him in Dallas at all. Then again, a blind monkey would be an upgrade.
Would be an upgrade from
What you
Eberflus.
had.
Yeah.
I can't believe it took 36 hours to fire that clown.
Yeah. That was way too long.
Yeah,
He's in my honorable mentions here.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
DC for Eberflus.
There's nothing honorable. There's nothing honorable about that.
About that man. Now, I think he goes to college. I think his time in the NFL is done. We've seen him as a head coach. We've seen him as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he needs to go reinvent himself because what he's using is caveman days and is not successful in the NFL anymore. So try again, Matt Eberflus.
Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn decide that he's going to go ahead and Kingsbury's going to go ahead and step out and maybe he's looking to get a head coaching job again.
Yeah, I think this is Cliff Kingsbury seeing that there's 19 openings out in the market and is going to go try to get a head coaching gig again and I believe Quinn was like, well, you go do you and gave him that opportunity. So that's what I believe the Kingsbury deal is I believe Cliff Kingsbury wants to be a head coach somewhere, and the way his offense is, run and everything like that, if he finds the right fit, then that could be a dangerous deal.
Thinking about that, Lions offensive coordinator John Morton fired after 1 year. He could go there, and that would be dangerous.
That'd
to
be
see
dangerous.
The weapons that they got. It just depends to me if he wants to be a head coach or not.
Right.
Some people, and we've seen it, and it didn't work out too well.
Was not successful when he did it the first time at all.
Maybe he's learned something from Dan Quinn. It's like, hey, maybe if I did this thing, maybe if I did this thing differently this time. I like his offense. He does really good at offensive coordinator, or maybe he just wanted to change the scenery, some more weapons. If he went to Detroit, I would be worried. So,
yeah. I mean, something happened to that offense after right before Thanksgiving, and they went through about a month and a half stretch, and they did not look real good at all.
Yeah, and that was the downfall of the Lions this season, losing Ben Johnson and all this. And it makes you wonder. I need to look it up. The record, Dan Campbell's record with Ben Johnson and without Ben Johnson, and without Ben Johnson is not very good. So, and we see what Ben Johnson has done for the Bears, despite how bad Caleb Williams is over there. So, do we want to get into coaching of the year candidates? This one's interesting.
I think Vrabel is. I think Vrabel and McVay are at your top of your list. Maybe Mike McDonald in Seattle.
One that a lot of people aren't talking about, Jacksonville's head coach.
Yeah.
Year 1, and look what they've done. 13-4. They were what was it? 4-3? And they finished 13-4. That is absolutely insane. Insane.
Well,
Seattle.
I'll tell you what I want to talk about. The fact that about 6 weeks ago, Shane Steichen was polishing off a spot on his wall for the coach of the year, and damn near got fired. There was talks of Indianapolis firing the GM and the head coach, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" This man was like 8-1 or 8-2, and about to go run away and hide when his quarterback blows his Achilles tendon, and you got to call old man Winter off the couch to with his grandkids to finish your season. Speaking of, they said Phillip Rivers might throw his name into the coaching ring.
This kid doesn't like his family. I mean, this guy's like, I can't be at home with his 18 kids.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting Ben Johnson could win it.
Yes.
Carolina was supposed to win one game this year, and they won their division. Seattle, I think.
I like that, but I think Seattle or New England is probably going to be who takes it.
Yeah, and what is New England? They are 14-3, just like Seattle. It's funny. The other day, I was thinking about DeMarcus Lawrence went over to Seattle, and he said, I want to go a place where I can have a chance to win the Super Bowl. And we were like, Seattle? And, man, we look like fools. The defense looks good. That team looks good. I'm hoping Darnold pisses down his pants like he does every year in the tough playoff game. But also, another random – Minnesota's GM needs to be fired for letting go of Sam Darnold. And then you have what you have at your quarterback position this year. Absolutely stupid.
I'd be
But
interested to see what JJ looks like next year and see if it's anything like the Drake May turnaround. Because Drake May looked like this last year to start out with when he was thrown to the Wolves in the middle of the season, and having a full off season and a start of a season. There's a lot of talent over there in Minnesota. I want to see what JJ McCarthy has with a
lot of talent.
with a full off season
And I'm hoping
full
Minnesota
training
loses.
camp and yeah.
I'm hoping Minnesota loses their defensive coordinator. That would be great. He's good. Not to you guys. I wanted him to go be a head coach somewhere and fail like he did in Miami. I saw something today. It's crazy. All right. I wish I could put it up here on the screen. The Colts started 7-1, finished 8-9. Tampa Bay 6-2, they finished 8-9. Chiefs 5-3, they finished 6-11. Or their final record 6-11. Lions 5-2, 9-8. Packers 5-1-1, 9-7-1. The Jacksonville Jaguars 4-3. They finished 13-4. That is impressive. The Texans 3-4. They finished 12-5. And the Bears were 4-3 and they finished 11-6. That is absolutely crazy. And that tells me, even if your team starts off a little slow, doesn't mean it's the end. And it doesn't mean if they start off fast that they're going to finish,
Yeah, I mean, D'Amico Ryan was looking for jobs on the website, at 4-3, and now he's in the playoffs and has a chance to advance.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for our NFL for tonight. The coaching carousel is now. Let's get into some college football here real quick, Craig. I know we're kind of a little late to this, but it takes another 4 weeks before we see another game for college. It sucks. You had Miami upsetting Ohio State, and I didn't see that coming. I know you weren't big on Ohio.
What was it? I don't really think that was an upset.
Number 10 versus number 2. Those say it's an upset. The way Miami played against
Texas A&M, got Ohio State shoved so far.
The way Miami played against Texas A&M, I was like, this team's going to lose next round. I don't care who they play. They looked good. They looked way better. I don't know what woke them up.
Miami has a very solid defense. Their offense is hit or miss, but their defense is the best that's left in the group. And A&M and Texas Tech both were extremely disappointing offensively.
Oh, gosh, it was terrible.
Just an absolute snooze fest.
Oregon beats Texas Tech 23-0.
Texas Tech
defense was amazing.
Oregon looks better than I expected. They could give Indiana. They could give Indiana some trouble. That is going to be one hell of a game. But here's what I want to talk about. As if the Ole Miss saga was not bad enough, hold my beer, it might get worse. So Lane Kiffin goes before the playoffs, jumps ship to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive coordinator takes over. They're saying that when this is all over and said and done, he's going back to be the defensive coordinator. So you're going to hire a head coach that has to take him as the defensive coordinator. That's a mess. And going into the semifinals, we're not sure if they're going to have an offensive coordinator, a running backs coach, and all the people that Lane Kiffin are taking with him, because they expected to lose to Georgia. And so they had made plans to go to LSU and take their jobs.
No way.
And now they may lose 2 or 3 more coaches. They may lose all the staff that Lane Kiffin has taken with him. They have not decided yet whether they're going to stay and coach the semifinals. And If that's not bad enough, somehow Lane Kiffin, in his ultimate magic, when he signed his contract with LSU, he got a stipulation written in there that says, I get this much money if they win this game. I get this much money if they win this game. And he's already made $9 million, and he's up for another $2 million, I believe, if they win the college football championship. He is getting paid for them winning football games, and he is not even there.
I did not know that on Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss beat Georgia, which was a great win.
And their quarterback is filing for an extension of eligibility because he wants to go back and play another
year. Now, I think well, half the coaching staff ain't going to be there, huh? That's insane.
Could be. I don't know who you would get to replace them on short notice.
I think we're looking at Ole Miss Indiana championship.
Very possible.
That would be a good game. That would be one hell of a good football game. Miami didn't impress me against Texas A&M. They looked pretty good last week. And Oregon looked better than I thought, so they might give Indiana a run for the money.
Well, I gave up on Ole Miss. I went to bed. It was 21-12, and I just assumed that Georgia won, and I looked up the next morning, and I was like, what happened? And
they were up by 14. And
old Chambliss Trinidad said, hold my beer, and went down and willed a team to victory. So,
yeah, he looked good.
Very, very solid. 4 teams left, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Who's stepping in for Lane Kiffin right now as coach for Ole Miss? Is it defensive coordinator?
The defensive coordinator.
If he wins another game or wins it all out, you better make him the head coach. With what he's had to go
supposedly what it sounds like is that's what they wanted. And he's like, no, I'll do it for the playoffs, but I'm going back to being a defensive coordinator.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like he doesn't want it.
Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility, man.
They promised him, okay, we'll make sure that whoever we hire will keep you on as a defensive coordinator, but it's going to limit your searching pool because most guys want to bring their own group in.
Yeah.
And so when you're already told that you got to have this defensive coordinator, you're like, well, wait a minute. I don't know if I like that.
Unless you're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Now,
and we see how that worked.
Was that a Jerry Jones hire or was that a shoddy hire?
So it sounds to me like it was shoddy that liked him somewhere else or knew him from somewhere else and said, hey, I want that guy to be my DC.
So you can put that one on shoddy.
My problem is I don't care whose decision it was. I want to know what resume they looked at and went, yeah, that's our guy. Because the defense in Chicago, like if he was in Chicago and the defense was top 10 and he just wasn't winning football games and got a bad break as a head coach and inherited a bad team, and okay. But the defense wasn't good in Chicago there. He's just never been good. He's never been good no matter where he's at.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what we were looking at and went, yeah, that's our guy.
And we'll talk more about it as when the season's over and the playoffs are over. We'll get into kind of we'll get into some more questions about different teams and how we think they did this season and everything like that. But all right, Craig. Well, you got anything else you want to add before we close it down? All right, guys. Well, that's the show tonight. We talked about the chopping block of the NFL coaches, a little bit of college football here as well. Come join us Friday. It's the playoff edition. We'll get into the playoffs. We'll break down who we think is going to win it all. And then we'll talk about the games going into the wild card weekend. And we've got some really good football games. And the question I want answered, Craig, on Friday, who has the most pressure going into the playoffs? We'll answer all those questions for you on Friday. God bless, and remember,
keep it outspoken.